The corner, the corner, the corner.
Hey, welcome. Come on into Cousin Ed's Corner. This podcast is where you'll find real, authentic conversation, organic conversation, unscripted, unfiltered conversation, like you're home with your cousin. It's all about life. It's about finance. It's about spirituality. It's about love and everything in between. I'm your host, Cousin Ed. I'm excited to bring you along on this journey. So sit back and listen in as we dive into a wide range of topics. I have some diverse guests coming on with an array of thoughts and opinions. My goal is to create a space all for us to connect and communicate. It's not really about me. It's about the community as a whole. Let's enjoy it. Let's sit back. Let's think about our past. Let's move into our future. It's about
The corner, the corner, the corner. So no matter how you cut it or slice it, we're all here together. I'm just here to give you a piece of my heart, my mind, my soul, and my mentals. So sit back, relax, and enjoy another episode of Cousin Ed's Corner. The corner, the corner, the corner.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. What's going on, fam? What's going on, fam? How are you? How are we? How's everybody doing? It's your boy, Cousin Ed. Yes, indeed. We are back. We are back with another one. I am not sure what show this is. I'm just doing my meditation. This is my Sunday morning meditation. I may put it out today. I may put it out tomorrow for Motivational Monday. May put it out for a corner connection. I'm not sure. But I am sitting in the midst of a storm. And last night we had tornadoes, we had rain, we had trees down. Currently right now, I'm trying to take a picture of this, but the sun is peeking through the clouds, but the ocean, the river, and everything else is definitely in an uproar. Winds are chaotic, and I'm just sitting through it all. I can see where the sun peeks through and it goes back behind the clouds. And I was just thinking about life in general, right? Life in general, how many times many of us are going through storms, right? Going through storms, and you have your good days, you have your bad days. It just came to me and won't complain, right? We have our good days, we have our bad days. We're trying to figure out how to navigate these storms in our lives, right? We get caught in the why me? I've been so good. I've done so much right. Why me? And then we get caught in the praise of them also, like, man, let me make it through this. I'm on the other side of it. We share our testimony, and then sometimes we go back into another storm, right? Back into another storm. And I'm just thinking about the storms in our lives that we've actually survived, right? I'm talking about the actual weather storms, right? The Sandys and the was snowboarding in Atlanta area, or earthquakes, or whatever you've been through and wherever region you are in this world, because this show is not only to America, but in this world, whatever storms you've made it through, you're able to listen to this show today and be on the other side of that storm. I'm not talking about the storms in your life, right? I'm not talking about the storms that taking us down, right? The storms that have hurt us. I'm talking about the actual physical storms that we made it through. Some of us have lost loved ones throughout storms, right? You think about Katrina. How many people how many people lost someone? How many people have been displaced since then? You think about the tsunami. Hundreds of thousands of people lost their lives, right? And these are, like I said, not man-made. These are physical storms that God has allowed to happen. But we right now on the other side of that storm, right? We survived that storm. And as I think about the storms that happen, that manifest in our life through our own doing, right? Through others' actions, right? Not something that God has created. God creates everything. I must say that again. But things that we feel that man has had a hand in, right? Those storms, right? I lost my job. That's a storm I had to go through to try to, how I'm going to pay my bills, right? The relationships that we've been through that hurt the most, right? Those storms. Having kids and, just thinking about them, or something happens to your kid, losing a loved one, those storms that you just don't know how you're going to make it through. It's painful. Those storms are painful. But just like the other storms that God has sent your way, you're going to make it through. We're going to make it through. And it may not be in the form and fashion. Don't forget, the land's changed. The terrain is different. The trees may not be the same. It's so much. You think about the fires in California, so many things change, right? So your life may not be the same after the storm that you have been through. The storms that you're going through, your life may not be the same, but you are still standing, right? I see some trees that have went down, but I see some trees that have lost branches. I see some trees that are still standing, right? Some trees need to be rerouted. Some seeds need to be planted. And this is what life is about. Trying to make it through, trying to see how we're going to navigate these storms, right? Sometimes you'll see a ship in the middle of the sea and you're like, what are they going to do? The only thing they can do is weather the storm. They put down their anchors and try to weather the storm, because we're going to stay here and stand in the middle of it and try to weather it best we can. Because if we move just one notch that way, the winds could take us over. If we move one notch this way, we can capsize. There's so many things that play a part, but sometimes we got to stand in the midst of it, in the midst of the storm, head on and look at it. Face it. If you turn back now, sometimes you get caught in it. Even worse. I've been having conversations over the last week, 2 weeks, about storms, about things people are going through. And some people, they don't understand it. Like, why me? Why me? Why me? And we all, listen, I am the first one to say the why me, right? And it takes a second to ask yourself, why not me, right? Or what am I going to get out of this? Instead of being a pity party of why me, how can I work my hardest? How can I pray through this so I can have a testimony on the other side? How can I accept that God has put me here for a reason, instead of being in the pity party of why me? God put me here for a reason. What can I get out of this? What can I teach others out of this? It's all retrospect sometimes, right? It all takes a second sometimes. Because it's easy that first minute to be in anger. It's easy in that first minute to be in rage. It's easy in that first minute to be in doubt. It's easy in that first minute to have all those feelings. But you have a second moment after the fact to think through it. That's why you got to get in prayer and pray about these things and think through it. It's a reason why God has me here in this moment. If I just get stuck on the pity party for myself, I won't see what God's message is. That's why sometimes you have to be alone and be quiet and listen to what God's message is. I get enraged sometimes. I still got Brooklyn in me. Me and Moody was talking about it the other day. I'm about 95%. Brooklyn's still there. I'm like the Incredible Hulk, right? David Banner. I try to keep the Brooklyn out of me 95% of the times, right? I don't want that rage to come out in me, right? But sometimes it does, right? That 5% it does, right? But when I take a moment to think and calm myself down and get back to the David Banner and know that God put me in these situations for a reason. The reason why I made that joke and the simile behind it is because sometimes people take us there, right? Situations take us there, but we have to be able to calm ourselves down, have to be able to take a second, have to be able to pray, have to be able to just meditate and get back to where God wants us to be, because if not, we lose control. And that's what the world wants us to do. Wants us to lose control. The minute we lose control is the minute that God is not in control. The minute we lose control is the minute that God is not in control. This is when you are at a place where you're out of yourself. You're out of yourself because you know better, right? But sometimes that rage, sometimes that anger, sometimes that feeling, sometimes that moment of it just takes you there, and you have to get back, and you have to. Sometimes you got to apologize, right? Because I couldn't help it that moment ago. I honestly couldn't help it. I am human, but God is still with me. I apologize for that moment. The storm is now lifting up. I apologize. I have a testimony to tell. I have a story to tell because God let me get through it. I apologize. I apologize. I apologize. The sun is coming out. I apologize. I give a testimony because I'm still standing here that God let me make it through. I apologize. Let me go back in that store and apologize to that person I went off on. Let me call back to that office and apologize because you know what? I was out of my own personality at the moment. Let me go back to my child, my spouse, my couple, my boss, or whoever it is. I need to apologize because at that moment I was in my feelings about something that God placed me in, and it was only a test to see how I react. Now, I'm not going to always say it's easy to turn the other cheek. When we go back and visit Malcolm and Martin, it's not always easy to turn the other cheek. I do understand that. And like I said, that 5% in me is that Malcolm. It's not easy. Sometimes you got to, But you can also, after that moment, you can try to clean things up and apologize and make sure things are straight and people understand where you came from. So I said a lot. I'm sitting here in the storm. The sun has peeked through the clouds and it is back sunny and shiny. The sun is shining, but the winds are still blowing. I know the storm is still close, still near, and I don't know when it's going to turn again. But when it turns for you, when it turns for me again, that storm comes. Remember this moment that you made it through the last one. You made it through the last one. We made it through the last one. Sometimes we got to put our anchors down, pick up our Bible, bring it close to our heart, and just remember that he's going to find a way. He's going to let us get through this storm. Family, I'm with you. I love you. There's nothing you can do about it. If you ever need me, 762-333-2032. That's 762-333-2032. I love each and every one of you that you can do about it. Peace.
Thank you for listening to Cousin.